good day, everybody. Welcome to Rise with the Wealth Warriors. And oh, do we have a show for y'all? I am so excited. It is Thursday morning. Those of you who are watching live, hashtag live. Those of you that are watching replay, hashtag replay. And welcome to Rise with the Wealth Warriors. And do we ever have an amazing show for you guys? I am so excited to bring on one of the best and top email marketers and best solo ads vendor in the marketplace. Guys, please, let's introduce Igor. Boom.
Boom.
Hey,
What's going on, brother? How are you?
Igor?
You're great. Man, you guys, the energy. I love the energy.
So, Igor, for the Daniel, and for the people who don't know who Igor is, which I'm shocked who don't know you, but for those of people who don't know who Igor is, who are you? Where did you come from? And what are you like? What do you do in this industry?
I am an e-farmer, also known as an email marketer. I specialize in promoting other people's products for a commission and building audiences within a particular niche interest, so I can then mail these offers to them. I rely strategically on email to make all my money. Nearly every dollar I make can be tracked back to an email I sent out to my audience. I make a lot of money, a lot, way more money than I think my parents or my high school friends can conceive. And I live life on my own terms. I get to decide when I work, how I work, with whom I work, where, out of which location. For example, tomorrow I'll be flying out to LA and then going to Palm Springs because there's going to be a 3-day rock festival. I'm going to be crossing a big item off my bucket list to see AC/DC and Metallica play live.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah, so that's gonna be exciting. And I know for hands down, I know a concrete fact that while there, I will be making money because of my email marketing business.
That's powerful. That's crazy. Okay. So you guys, let us know. If you have been following Igor, right, give us number 8 down below. If this is first time, right, you are hanging out with us with Igor, give us number 9. Okay. And I just want to let you know, we spent a lot of time to get Igor agree to hop on this show, right? He is the number 1 email marketer and also affiliate marketer in the space. Okay, so today he's gonna share with you some insights because he talked very humbly. I have to tell you what he has accomplished. Okay, Nate, keep going.
And when Igor says he's got time freedom and stuff, it's just like those videos you were showing me and Daniel yesterday. Hey, he's shooting a freaking machine gun out of the helicopter.
Dude, that was one of the most terrifying things I've ever done. I'm seriously afraid of heights.
I can see it in you. You weren't
sure,
right?
He's like, I'm leaning into the helicopter and there's no door, right? And he's like, no, you want to point down the machine gun. And to point it down, you have to actually lean into it with your shoulder to push it down. And he's like, no, putting it down. I was like, okay. And I was like, trying to lift it up. And like, no, more. It's like leaning out of the helicopter, looking down, and you're about 1,000 feet up in the air. It was terrifying. It was so scary.
A rush, though, man. Right? That is, being your own boss and stuff allows you to do stuff like that, though, right? And it's
the beautiful part is not only
stuff like that reminds you you're alive.
Yeah, plus it's a little bit different to the sort of lives that most people live. You have to consider the fact that most people live lives of quiet desperation, meaning that they wake up in the morning, they have breakfast, they commute to a place that they don't want to commute to, they work with people they don't want to work with, they do something really boring that they don't want to be doing, and they're getting paid way too little, which means they don't have the money, don't have the freedom, and they don't get to call the shots in their life. For me, this was a devastating experience for many, many years, to basically know that I'm a loser. To me, that's a definition of what a loser might be. So that's why I set out to change it. And what's interesting, even after I made a lot of money online, I'm not sure if you can relate to that. For many years, I continued to live a life of quiet desperation. I continued to live a very boring life, very mundane, routine-like life. Wake up in the morning, do my work, maybe go to a restaurant, maybe travel a little bit more. But for the most part, very mundane experiences. And it was only a few years later that my brain kicked in and realized, hey, dude, you got the freedom, you've got the money, you call the shots, you don't have to stay home, you can take off. And all of a sudden, I really took, I put pedal to the metal, and I started going, traveling all across Europe, buying and renting expensive cars, doing helicopters, shooting guns. The stuff that I didn't do, that a lot of my friends in the industry did, of course, that I didn't go to Asia, I didn't go to, that part of the world yet. But other than that, if there's anything interesting to do somewhere, and I'm more into like riding fast cars or shooting guns and things like that. Like I've done that. Like on the same trip that I've done the helicopter, I actually shot an M82 sniper rifle, the one that
Oh,
shoots.
that's an M82, not a 50 cal.
Well, I think that's a 50. Like it pierces
is.
like a tank and everything.
Yeah.
It's just the range is so great. And before that, a couple of years ago, with the same company, I did a minigun. With the one that turns like that.
Uh-huh,
So that was
uh-huh.
really fun too. In On the same trip, I crushed a car with a bulldozer, like they showed in the TV show Billions. If you ever seen that, I mean, you name it, I've probably done it, and it's really it makes for a cool story to tell. But it also, in my opinion, every time I do something like that, it's like I level up in my self-esteem, to kind of reaffirm that I live life by design, and all that is possible because of one thing, and that is figuring out how to make money online.
Boom. Okay, I got a question for you real quick. This is a good one. For those new to the digital space, can you break down the core essential of email marketing and why it's so pivotal in today's business landscape?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people miss just how important email is. They don't recognize that it's at the core of all successful marketing campaigns, and that it's actually one thing that, again, I know you guys do a lot of social media, but the one thing that email does that social media can't offer is that it's a moat, meaning that you can't really lose a list. You can't really lose. It's yours. It's yours to keep. With social media, you can get shadow banned. Platforms change, algorithm change,
Where's
right?
TikTok?
Yeah, it happened to you probably. So it happened to me many times too. And it's not like I don't use social media at all. I do. I use YouTube. I run lots of ads on social media. But at the end of the day, everything I do is geared towards building my list first, and then everything happens after. So the reason email is so pivotal is because if you look just at the numbers, and if you look up some studies on marketing, selling, conversions, you'll see that the number one media that leads to a conversion in the sale is actually an email. In fact, you can go to a website, emailisnotdead.com, and whoever put up that website, is such a good person. Like I really love them because they just put together like a directory of articles, studies, and all sorts of social proof as to why email is so good. And if you go there, you'll see lots of like information and data, just actual data, actual numbers that back up this idea that email is the cornerstone of success, and why I've been using that as my go-to media. Again, I understand that you can still use social media. You should be visible on social, absolutely, but also be building your list. Like a buddy of mine, he used to run a YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers in the men's health niche. And then he woke up one day and it was nowhere to be found. He started getting messages on Instagram from his friends saying, "Hey, I can't find your YouTube channel. I wanted to look up a video, but I can't find it." Turns out that the channel got disabled. No prior warning, nothing. And good thing he had a list of about 60,000 people to fall onto, because for the next few months, as he was rebuilding the channel, he continued running promotions to the list, and he was making money.
Powerful, powerful. I also have a question for you, Igor. Thank you for the insights. So, in your book, right, and also in your podcast show, the list building lifestyle, you interview, I mean, a lot of like big icons in the industry, like Les Brown, Russell Brunson, right, all these people, and just recently, that me and Nate, we were honored to be on your show as well. So you have seen a lot of this like 8, 9 figures, big brands, right? By how important the email marketing part is play a role in their business. After you see all
Um,
those major brands out there.
yeah, anyone I know who's like a really big brand, so 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, usually they have a big list. It's highly unusual for me to be interviewing somebody who we would call a big shot, and for them to tell me something like, oh, we get all of our traffic from news websites or something. For the most part, it comes down to them having a really loyal email audience, and not all of them have the largest audience either. Many of them don't really cross the 50,000 person email list mark, but they just make a lot of money because as soon as they got something going on, they just email the list, and almost any project they do becomes an instant success. For example, before getting on live with you, I was sharing how we launched a new program to
Yep.
my audience,
Yep.
and we enrolled 100 members into the program. It was literally just a 7-day email campaign where we announced
Wow.
it, and the members enrolled at 2,500 if they paid up front, or 3 grand if they paid over 3 payments. So
Mm-hmm.
we enrolled 100 members into that program in a week without putting any money into paid advertising, without having
Wow.
to go and ask people to promote us, without doing anything besides just sending out a few emails. And
That's
Do the
that's
math.
pretty.
crazy.
I mean, think how powerful that is. A couple of weeks prior to that, we've done a 5-day, like a low ticket. The ticket was, I think, $7, and the VIP was 27 or 17. So we done a low ticket online 5-day event where I taught online business, and we only emailed the people who never bought anything from us,
Mm.
which on my list that's probably 30,000 people or so.
Mm-hmm.
So we emailed them, and we enrolled over 400 members in a span of 1 week. Again, think how powerful that is for you to be able to take, to just instantly generate 400 new customers
That is
for your business.
crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Yeah.
Do the numbers, people. 100 people at even $1,000 a pop, right? Boom.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yep. 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 Yep.
it definitely, like, email marketing is crazy. I know, like, you say, like, you don't need a huge email list to have a good product. You just need to have a loyal fan list to make it good. Like me and Daniel,
Yeah.
we don't have that big of an email list. It's under 20,000, right? But we
Yep.
have a loyal list, like you said, where we can literally promote whatever we want to that list. And because they respect us and believe that we know how to pick a good product, they'll buy it from us, knowing that it's something that we recommend and that we stand behind, right?
That is
Yep.
absolutely true because I worked with quite a few people over the years, and they would approach me and ask me to consult them on their list building. Sometimes it's more on a barter basis, where it's like a big shot approaches me. It's like, hey, Igor, you know what you're doing with this? Can you take a look at what we got? And so whenever I look at these lists and audiences, oftentimes I'm surprised how small the list is for someone with a big name. But what I will always find out is that, just like you said, it's the core, that loyal audience. And in my experience over the years, what I've seen is you only need about 75 to maybe 120 loyal people on your list for you to be making 6 figures a year.
Boom. That's powerful insight there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys like the interview so far? If you feel you are receiving massive amount of value, right? Give us number one down below. Okay. Let's give Igor a massive amount of support from our community. Give us number one down below. And I'm gonna have another question because Igor, you are one of the mentors that inspired me and Nate when we first got started at early 2021, right? So it took us a while to understand or realize how important building an email list is, and we still feel the overwhelming feeling we had before. Okay, same as many beginners, many new students that we have right now. So because many people are overwhelming when starting with doing email marketing, right? Technical aspect. I never send out email. Nobody ever bought something from me just through email before, right? So what are the fundamental principles that you can share with us that everyone should know about as a complete beginner when you start in learning how to do email marketing? What are principles they should pay attention to?
Sure. The first principle is you need to mail the list. It sounds kind of obvious, but in my experience, a lot of people who build their list don't email the list. And I think it has to do with imposter syndrome. I think it has to do with people being afraid to put themselves out there in the same way that people are afraid to post on social media. They're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of saying their own thing. So I believe that you should definitely email your list if you're building one, because otherwise you're just wasting your time and you're wasting your money, you're wasting your effort. And the thing with lists is that if you don't use it, you lose it. Which means, it's not uncommon for someone to approach me and say, "Hey, Igor, I spent the last year building this list of 6,000 people, but I haven't mailed it, and now I finally worked up the courage to mail my list, and I no one's opening." Well, sorry to say, but you don't use it, you lose it, and that list is now dead to you. You should just move on, start over. It's an experience. It's a lesson I learned on my own skin in the same way. I've had built a list of about 1,000 people off of a blog over a course of about 8 months or so. And then I finally worked up the courage to email that list, and I got 3 unsubscribes, 2 spam complaints in one click or something. It was just devastating. So I had to start over. Definitely want to be mailing the list. The second thing is you want to communicate to your list. So a lot of people I think they have an issue with email marketing is because they think they need to be a great writer to send those emails out. Now, the reality is that you don't need to be. You just need to be able to imagine yourself having a one-on-one conversation over beer or coffee with your potential customer. In fact, I would even go as far as saying, if more people wrote their email marketing campaigns the same way they write Facebook posts, they would be making a lot more money. Because for some reason on Facebook or Instagram, people don't feel that pressure. But when it comes to, oh, I'm sitting down to write an email, they feel really, really pressured. So imagine you're just writing a Facebook post and not really an email marketing campaign. I think you'll do just fine.
Wow,
Oh.
that's a powerful tip right there. Amazing.
And that's the thing. And even like with today's things, right? Like you can even put your own spin to it and throw it into ChatGPT if you don't feel so confident, right? There's so many tools out there nowadays where like you don't need to be no professional, man. I know I'm not, man. All my content goes through ChatGPT. I put what I want down, put it in ChatGPT, and then I let it make the magic, right? It's crazy. Like today you don't have to be a professional copywriter, and it's amazing because like, and that's what you just said right there is actually a big eye-opener to even me, because I'll be one of those ones who say I let a list go dead and I had to restart. So I'm one of those people who actually, like, I let a list of 2,000 people go dead because I wasn't mailing them every day because I wasn't confident enough and saying, hey, how's it going today? This is how my week's going. How's your week going? Whatever, right? Just have that conversation with your audience, and hey, it does hit, because I was one of those ones who actually have done that. So guys, pay attention to this stuff because it's big, right?
Yep.
A lot of people push email marketing away, especially like on TikTok, right? Like on TikTok and stuff like that. They just think content and get them into the DMs and then freaking make a sale, right? Well, then you made a sale, but then now you have to keep on currying and keep grabbing
Yeah.
those people, keep
Yeah.
recurring those people. Why not build a loyal list of fans and followers instead? And that's, like you said, that's the only thing we own online. I can lose my TikTok, I can lose my Facebook, I can lose my IG account, right? But they can never take away our email list,
Right.
right?
No, they can't. No, they can't. And it's interesting you mentioned that because, look, I'm lazy. I truly am, because in the way I define laziness, the definition for me would be is I hate doing the same repetitive work, or I hate doing work that doesn't live long enough, where the outcomes kind of are short, and they, you know, they diminish quickly. So that's why, if I'm thinking about list building, how it compares to something like TikTok or Instagram, right? Imagine really investing a whole year in building your TikTok account, and obviously you guys can relate, and then losing it,
2
which
years.
means now you've done all this work for nothing. Yeah, you might have made money in the process, but you haven't built a foundation, because you don't get good karma points on your next TikTok account for the previous one you built.
Nope.
In fact, if anything, it's now more challenging because you have to get a VPN, you have to start on a different name, whatever. Like I'm sure there's a bunch of hoops you have to now jump through to get back on. And with a list, it's the complete opposite experience, because you build it and it like sticks. Yeah, there's some attrition to it, absolutely, but it mostly sticks. I mean, I got people who've been following me now for years and years, 5, 6, 10 years, who are still on my list and keep getting my emails every single day. Now, that's a foundation that if I were to lose everything like tomorrow, that I can build on. I can build on literally tomorrow from scratch.
Powerful,
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah. So next question, Igor. I mean, I want to bring the audience back to your past, right? Because I know some people they are or that hear us talk. It sounds like language from alien, right? How can people just send out, click one button, send out email, then money show up in the bank account, right? So
Yeah.
I remember I was the me and Nate, we were that type of people, right? We cannot understand how you guys can make that much money by sending out emails. So before you do online business, what happened? Okay, what happened made you decide this is gonna become your career? What made you want to do internet marketing?
So my story is really weird, if you ask me, because on paper, if you look at where I grew up and how I grew up, this was not the path that was laid out in front of me. So I was born in Ukraine, just before the wall came down. So I was growing up in post-Soviet Ukraine, very poor country, lots of crime, difficult place to grow up in. But basically, I like my childhood just like any kid. Even if it's a very difficult one, you still end up liking it because you just take it as is. And then when I was about 11 years old, my family decides to immigrate to Israel, and it's because we're Jewish, so we had the Jewish connection there. But it's also because a couple years prior, my dad made a really bad investment. So he loaned a lot of money from a loan shark, Nikolai Makarenko, who was like a gangster, and he invested in something called a kolkhoz, which is a state-owned farm. And during that period in time when the wall came down and the country was trying to rebuild, a lot of the stuff that was owned by the government was now getting to the hands of people. So whoever was running the farm before the government fell, before the wall came down and the government fell apart, they basically took it on as their own because there was no one else to challenge that. And so my dad and a bunch of other guys invested in this farm, and they wanted to develop it, to cultivate it, and then to start selling produce, vegetables, fruit, etc., and make money this way. And my dad borrowed 10,000 US dollars from this gangster, right? Now, 10,000 US dollars back then is a lot of money, but in Ukraine, that's like crazy a lot of. We're
That's
talking,
crazy. Yeah.
dude,
Uh-huh.
you could, just so you understand, when we left Ukraine, we sold our apartment for 3,500 US. He
Oh wow.
basically took almost 3 times the cost of our apartment,
Wow.
right? So if you compare this to the local prices here today in Toronto, where I live, like a condo is probably going to cost you $700,000. So he's like basically taking 2 million from like a gangster, right? And
Yeah.
so they take this money, him and a few of his buddies, and they give it to the CEO of this farm, right? And they think he's gonna, basically they did not micromanage the guy. They should have probably. The guy ends up blowing all the money. He blows the
Wow.
money on hookers, on casinos, on buys himself a new car. I mean,
Yeah.
he blows it on anything besides the damn farm.
Right.
So now my dad is out of money. So what he decides to do, he decides to use the Jewish connection, move to Israel, sell our car, our apartment, and the furniture, and eventually leave Israel with nothing. Which means at the ripe age of 44, 45, when he decides to move, um, we basically start over in Israel, like literally from zero. And of course,
Wow.
as you might have imagined, in a new country, different language, different mentality,
Yep.
and no paperwork, I guess, like as far as education goes, as far as like all that stuff, we have to settle for immigrant jobs, which is exactly what him and my mom do. And we started sinking in debt. And then, if a short time later, my dad feels chest pain, goes to the hospital, goes to the clinic. They say something's off here. Your EKG parameters are really bad. You need to go to the hospital right away. They rush him to the hospital about 30 minutes away in the big city. and they put him on the table and operate on him. They basically run a double bypass on him. I'm not going to get into what that is. Basically, it's a heart thing. So something to
Yeah.
do with heart. And so from that point forward, my dad can't find a decent job. Nobody wants to hire a guy with a heart condition. And he just settles for like an occasional security job here and there, while my mom keeps working full time in the factory until she gets fired. Then we live off of like sort of half an income, some social security, mooching some money off of friends and family who live nearby. And we sink deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper in debt. And over the next 10 years, that's exactly what happened. So my parents decide to send me my mom is a former teacher. My dad actually was an army officer in the Red Army. He graduated the Suvorov Military Academy in Moscow and got dispatched to Ukraine, which is where I was born. And his mother was a school principal. My mom's father was a teacher. My mom's mother was a nurse. So I come from a family of very much a humanitarian jobs, right? So
Mhm.
they basically believe in go to school, get a
Mhm.
good education, get good grades, and you'll be fine. And
Yep.
so they want me to get a good education. So first they send me to a religious school locally that has basically lots of educational material on religion, the Torah,
Uh-huh.
all the different Jewish stuff. But they also have a great English faculty, physics faculty, and math faculty, which is what my parents really sent me into that school for. And then after they enroll me into the Israeli Air Force Academy, because
Mhm.
Israel is a tiny country with a great military, and the
Yep.
military there is like a doorway into a better life,
Okay.
because they end up giving you skill sets, they end up giving you great recommendations. So when you get out of the military, you can get into big companies and build yourself a career. In
Got it.
fact, every single highly established military officer of any kind, as soon as they retire from the military around the age of 45, they immediately get snatched into the high tech world in Israel, because they've got the organizational skills to run a company.
Right. Right.
So I enroll in the Air Force Academy at the age of 14. I graduate the academy at the age of 19, and I do 2 more years post grad in the academy, and then I get enlisted into the
Yeah.
Israeli Air Force.
Yeah.
But somewhere along that path, you know, uh, God or the universe throws a wrench into my parents' plans and puts a copy of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad into my hand.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, that's the first book got Nate started as well. Then what happened? Yeah, then what happened?
So then, I mean, you can only imagine what happens then. Then I'm like, wow, I've been sold the wrong path to success. This is not gonna, is studying hard and going to school isn't how you get rich. And so I basically rebel against the system. I get out of the Israeli Air Force through any means necessary. I basically get discharged, dishonorably discharged, by threatening my superiors, threatening to shoot them. They put me in jail for a while, for that. And I
Right.
basically, I made their life very difficult. Eventually, they
Mm-hmm.
gave up on me. And
Mm-hmm.
then, in that same time, I'm also trying to pursue online business. And long story short, with online businesses, it took me about 3.5 years before I finally made something. But then once I've made my first dollar, I quickly made my first $1,000, and then from there, scaled to 10K per month in 6 months or so, and then from there to 20K per month in another 6 months. And I kind of been kind of scaling ever since. And again, I was not supposed to be where I'm like, my parents still don't understand what I do. But, but because they live in an apartment that I bought for them cash, and they don't
Uh-huh.
have to worry about rent anymore, they just stopped questioning me. And on my way, on my way up, on my way like to building this little empire that I've built, I mean, every naysayer, my dad was like my biggest naysayer, by the way, until I made
Uh-huh.
my
Uh-huh.
first proper check. He was making fun of me, poking at me every dinner, every conversation at the dinner table. I mean, it was like embarrassing. It was annoying. At some point, I stopped, coming in for dinner. I would like, eat in my room just so he doesn't bother me. It was just, it's a ridiculous journey. And looking back on it, I was like, how the hell did I even pull that off? But I'm so happy that I did, because the quality of life that I live today And the ripple effect on the students that I've helped, my family members, my kids, and of course their kids. It's generational impact because when I made my first online paycheck, I was still in Israel. Today I live in Toronto for the last 6 years. I live in Toronto. I got a Canadian passport now, which is a big step up for my family. So I mean, think about starting back in Ukraine, and Ukraine is actually worse off today than it was back when I was growing up. So you can imagine the tragedy if I were to stay back in Ukraine. I might have not have been alive today. And just because my parents make a decision to move to Israel for a better life out of sheer necessity, and then I make a decision out of like not necessity, but rather just goal oriented decision to move my family out to Canada. The generational effect on the life of my family is just insane. I mean, yeah, doing the helicopter thing and the machine gun thing and riding fast cars and driving a Porsche in the day to day, very nice, very cool, but not as fulfilling as you might imagine. What's way more fulfilling is knowing that if my son wants to get into like racing or something, we have the means to make it happen. That
Nice.
my daughter is going to school in Canada, and she's not growing up with the same sense of scarcity and poverty and danger that I grew up with. My wife, for example, my wife Anastasia, she had to shoplift at some point because she grew up in a single. Her mom is a single mom, twice divorced, and she has two other siblings. So they literally didn't have food to eat at some point. So she had to go and shoplift to eat. So when I think, well, where we started, no education, no sense, no understanding of how money works, and where we're at today, that's quite a journey.
That's
Wow.
powerful.
Yeah,
That's a
Powerful,
powerful,
powerful. Yeah.
powerful story, brother. And that's one of the reasons why me and Daniel are a big fan of yours. You definitely know how to talk, right? So that right there, man, going from Ukraine to now is it's monumental. It's like, and what you said, like, sure, look, the fast cars and the friggin' shooting the helicopters, all that stuff. It's experiences. It's fun, right? But the
fun. Yeah,
real thing is the impact you're making in your family and in your family's, not even your current family, but your children's children, right?
yeah. I
You're,
mean, I
you're
don't even
creating that
count like
generational wealth.
yeah, and I don't even count like things like my friends, for example, or the students that I've coached and what they've done for their families. Like for example, we have two other couples that we're best friends with. So we actually ended up immigrating together from Israel to Canada, all three couples. So we're again, why did it happen? Because we all kind of had the online business thing happening. I was the first to do it, and I brought them in, and that's the only reason why. I'm sorry.
Gesundheit.
That's the only reason why we're able to do it. So it's really really powerful.
Well, you brought up the past. Now let's jump into the future. I got a quick question for you, and then we'll jump into what you're currently doing, what you're currently just released, and we'll talk about that. But first, given the rapid changes in digital marketing and affiliate marketing, so to say, where do you see the future of email marketing and affiliate marketing heading in the next 5 years? Any trends or shifts we should be prepared for?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. I started getting this question quite a bit. We do like a weekly coaching call on Mondays, and I tend to get it like at least once. And from what I'm seeing is there's more and more people becoming aware of email marketing. So there's more volume in the inbox. People are a little bit less likely to click, but they're much more likely to open because my open rates today are about twice as high as they were before COVID. Um,
Wow.
AI is playing a role in what we do, but the extent to which it plays a role is greatly exaggerated by most people. It's just a really helpful tool right now. It's not actually changing the industry. It's just a really cool way to do things faster and to do them in better quality. But at the same time, what AI is doing right now is kind of watering down the content. So I'm not sure where the content is going because I see a lot of AI content and you can tell right? You can tell it's AI.
Yep.
As far as affiliate marketing is concerned, it's really strong and it's growing. As far as list building, it's become easier to do it today than it used to be before. As far as exposure, what I'm seeing is platforms are becoming more and more fragmented. So, in other words, the reach you could achieve 5 years ago on YouTube, having just one YouTube channel, is compared to what it is today, is much greater. So today you have to work 10 times as hard to get a result that's like 20% of what you could have gotten 5 years ago. And I'm assuming, and it's only an assumption, that it's sort of kind of like that with most social platforms
Yeah.
today.
Yep.
So that's like a concerning factor for me. But what I also learned over the years, and I've seen lots of different fads because I've been doing this for over 10 years now. So every time there's like a new, like a diminishing trend, there's also going to be something new that's going to pop up where people are going to shift their attention. What I like is, here's a question that I also get a lot. You're gonna love this. Basically, a question I get a lot, almost once a week, twice a week, is, Igor, am I too late? Igor, I want to get into this, but am I too late? Is it all? Is it doesn't? Maybe it doesn't work anymore. It's a question I used to ask when I started. I used to think, oh, I'm too late. I used to watch people like the Frank Kerns of the world and Mike Sames, who are basically now peers to me, right? And I'd be like, oh, these guys are making all the money. I'm too late. Um, and it's really not, because the thing about the industry is that it just keeps developing. It doesn't stop. It just keeps evolving into something new and exciting, and there's a new spin on something. Fundamental principles are still the same. It all comes down to hungry market, great offer, and your communication with that market. But all the bells and whistles around it, technology wise, these things are the ones that change. And so you kind of have to stay up to date with what's working right now. Fortunately, email is working well. Fortunately, building any kind of community or audience is always a good idea. So the guiding principles did not change over the years, and I don't expect them to change.
Boom.
Powerful insight. Yeah. You guys love it? You guys love the insight? Give us number 5 down below, okay? If you like what Igor, the tip from Igor today, give us number 5 down below. And Nay gonna have Igor talk about what project that he's working on. Then we're gonna maybe spend the last 5 minutes to take some of your questions. I see a lot of people coming today. Wayne, my brother, how are you? Another big dog in the chat.
And so, Igor, let everybody know what's a big project that you guys just released, or you're just in the middle of releasing and stuff, because you're big, you're big thing. Everybody who knows you knows you for your e-farming, right? So, which we'll throw a link for his e-farming down below here in a few minutes, but let everybody know what you're working on now.
Oh man, I'm the sort of guy who likes to work on several things at a time, and usually I'll have like 5 different projects going on. 3 will fail, 1 will sort of succeed, but 1 will go big. So the one that I feel is going to be big for us and for our students in the next 3 to 5 years is going to be what we call the email a day business, which is where we teach people how to make money by becoming email profit partners with people and companies who own email lists. So you get paid for sending out emails to other people's lists from under their name, their brand, and everything, promoting their products. So you just basically take this thing off their plate, and you get paid a monthly retainer. So you can be making six-figure income with as little as 2 to 3 email profit partner clients. That's a project I'm really excited about. We're also going to be working real soon on a project, e-farming for businesses, where we're going to educate businesses on why they should be doing e-farming. But by far, the project that I think is still number 1 on my heart and will always be is, we're teaching people how to get into e-farming, how to build their own email list, how to make money, how to build their own moat, how to have a foundation, how to be able to, like you said, send something and money appears, right? I mean, think about it. What can be, isn't that crazy? Like almost like magic, where you put some words on paper or digital paper and you send it out in the cyberspace, and like money comes back.
It's insane.
Yeah, crazy.
It's
I love
insane. I love it too. I do. Every time me and Daniel do an email blast, especially with like a new product, we always get giddy because we're all like, get ready. Boom. We just blasted it. And then I'll go blast it too to my list. Right. And then we'll sit there. Woo! We'll just see them come in, see the commissions start coming in. And it's insane. But that happens is because you build that list. You, like you said, you have to keep nurturing that list. Right. Like Daniel, when I first met Daniel, his freaking email marketing was insane, right? Like he's good. So Jonathan Montoya, his email marketing is insane. But like getting on your list, wow, man! Like some of your
Jonathan is pretty good. Like I was interviewing Jonathan, he was telling me what he's doing. Like he's doing some really advanced stuff, and the open rate he's getting on a list that big is just crazy insane. So he knows what he's doing.
I mean, many say my email is good. My email skill is like this. Igor is like there. I mean, I remember when I first started out. Where can I learn email marketing? Right? I reverse engineer pretty much every single email Igor put out. So he was one of the mentors I learned from when I first started out. Yeah.
You know, it's funny because we're actually also working on a software that's going to write emails in my style and already comes in with understanding of campaigns. So you just tell it like a keyword or give it a website, and it literally builds like the whole thing for you. We're doing it because we keep having students ask us because they love our emails. For some reason, like almost everyone in the industry is on my email list. To obviously,
I wonder why.
So it's like, you know what? Let's give people what they want. We'll build like a really cheap software, like less than $20 a month, and they can literally have it right like me. Yeah. And we also, I don't know if you guys are already getting into that, but if you go to igorai.listbuildinglifestyle.com, you'll see like an AI version of me. I call it Igor GPT.
Oh, really? I haven't seen it yet.
Talk to. Yeah, they can talk to, and you can like go get it to do to give you advice. You can send it an email and say, hey, can you critique my email? And what do you like about it? What do you hate about it? Can you rewrite my email? And it'll actually do that. And I gave it to my wife. I was like, from now on, anything you need, just talk to that guy. Nice. Just not me. Just talk to that guy.
That's something me and Nate are putting together as well.
What's that site? I'm pretty sure other people want to go take a look.
You can check it out at igorai.listbuildinglifestyle.com. listbuildinglifestyle.com.
Like this.
Okay, Nate is gonna pop it up. Okay,
like that.
No, Igor AI.
Just no www without the www.
Sorry, my bad. Let me take that out of there. Boom. There you go.
Okay, so you guys take a screenshot, okay, or go to this website called igorai.listbuildinglifestyle.com. Then you can ask Igor, his AI system, any questions that you have. And also, Igor,
you guys can also actually take a screenshot of that too. Go follow him in his Facebook group. He sent me a big list. I just made it simpler for you guys. bit.ly.igor FB Facebook group. So just go to his Facebook group.
We got a Facebook group?
Suzanne sent me a Facebook group link.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. So I said, hey, okay, I'll post that too.
I didn't know we had one. I don't really go on Facebook.
Well, I don't know if it's your Facebook group. It might just be your Facebook profile. Sorry.
Yeah, it might be a Facebook. Yeah,
it's probably his Facebook profile. My bad. But Igor Facebook profile, whatever. To go follow him, guys. But the number one thing I'm going to put on the thing while you talk about it is your e-farming. That's your e-farming link for your e-farming. So e-farming 101, guys. This is his baby, pretty much. Everybody knows Igor about his e-farming. If you haven't checked it out, right, make sure you guys go check it out. give it a
You
like.
talk about it like it's common knowledge. It's like,
Well, I a lot of people that I talk to who know you say e-farming, right? Literally, that's one of the first things they bring up is your e-farming. It is well known in the industry, right?
Yeah,
Jonathan's talked about it. Jonathan's even promoted it as well, right? So I know a lot of people who do, and they do it for a reason because it's quality and because you're very well respected in the industry. You know what you're doing, right?
well, I hope
Absolutely,
so.
yeah.
I hope so.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
That's
definitely
like,
check it out. Okay, check it out.
you've been a big idol of mine and Daniel's since we've been in the game, right? And I just love how humble you are, right? That's the one thing that's always drawn me with you is you're really just a humble guy. And after hearing your story today, man, I'm a huge fan all over again, right? That story is actually, I didn't realize like that your story, your past and stuff like that. I didn't realize it was like that and stuff. So for you to become where you are today just goes to prove to anybody, it doesn't matter your past, right? You can still create the future you want.
Yeah, it really comes down to how bad you want it. Because when I read Kiyosaki's book, I don't know exactly why that book had such a tremendous influence on me, but it really convinced me that like the path I was on was just the wrong path for me. Like it resonated so much that I was like, I have to do whatever it takes, but I'm gonna live different. It was like a no-brainer. Like it was just unacceptable to me to live in any different life.
I agree. I listened to the audio version of this before I actually read it, right? I was hauling down the haul roads, hauling 150,000 pounds of logs while this was attached to my radio, listening to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, an hour drive into the mill every day. I did that for a week listening to this book. And then I listened to it for 3-4 more times, right?
Yeah.
This book literally changed my life.
Yeah, and he's just to say a word about Kiyosaki, I got a chance to interview him on my podcast as well.
Oh wow!
It kind of happened by accident because somebody who works for him listened to my podcast and really liked it, and he actually convinced him to go and appear. So it was again pure luck, but spending that 40 minutes with him, it was amazing. First off, I had to be up at 2 a.m. because I was still in Israel, and he's in, I think, Phoenix or something. So it was like a West Coast time zone difference of 10 hours. And he could only do it at 2 p.m. or something, or 4 p.m. And then he's just so the guy's just really smart. I don't know if you've had this experience or not, but sometimes you meet your idols and they don't really live up to the whatever image you have of them in your head. Oftentimes they even disappoint. I've had that happen to me on quite a few marketing seminars where I've attended, and I was like, really? I was like, oh, yeah. So it happened to me quite a few times. But with Kiyosaki, man, he impressed me even more during the interview than in his books. Very smart guy. And he also, if you've got kids, he's got an amazing book that I highly recommend. It's called Rich Dad Smart Kid.
Is that a new one or something?
I don't know. I've read it a few years ago.
Rich Dad Smart Kid for kids, teaching kids.
No, it's a book for the parent.
For the parents, okay.
But it's about parenting and kids.
I see.
Yeah, I highly recommend it if you want to put the right fundamentals.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. Yeah,
I'll even let my kid read it. My daughter, she's big.
No, it's written for you, man. It's not written
is it?
it's not written for kids. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Cool. Thank you so much, Igor. I know we are running out of time because you also have another thing coming up. Okay. And for the audience, I know we just have so many questions that we just don't have time to answer every single one of them, right? So go follow Igor, check out his e-farming, okay? Follow his podcast because he share a lot of great knowledges on his podcast, okay? So definitely check out his e-farming, not just us, right? A lot of 7-figure marketers that me and Nate know of all went through Igor's email training, okay? So definitely check it out. And Igor, thank you so much for your time. Nate.
Yeah, man, I just want to say thank you once again for your time, man. We all know how valuable your time is. So I want to say thank you. Appreciate it. And I hope everybody in here really enjoyed this one because I know I did. I love doing these Rise with Wealth Warriors, man. And I appreciate everything. One last thing, what kind of advice would you give to those people who are just on the fence and who are just not sure about the online industry itself? What advice would you give to those people before we get going?
It's not advice, but it's a question. What other option do you really have? Name me anything that allows you a lifestyle like we're living. You make money online. It comes from like virtually from the ether. You have global reach. You get to decide when to work, whether it's early in the morning, midday, all day long, just the weekends, only weekdays. So you get to call the shots when you're working. So you can fit this into almost any lifestyle that you can imagine. The money is really good. Anytime you need more money, it's a matter of getting on your computer. So you're not limited by a set income that you would otherwise be getting from a job. You get to decide the actual activity, and therefore it's fulfilling, where you can either express your creativity if you're a creative type, or you can follow proven systems if you're more of a systems oriented type of person. And you don't have to tell anyone about it. Like your friends and family don't even have to know, unless you publicly post about it in social media, in which case they will. But otherwise they don't have to know. So as far as income potential, freedom, the ability to decide the circumstance in which you work and how you work and the intensity to which you want to work, I just haven't found anything better. It just doesn't exist. So the question is, what other options do you really have?
Boom.
Boom.
I love that. Thank you. Appreciate you, Igor. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you all again for tuning in for Thursday's Rise with Wealth Warriors. Next week, we will be live again, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, again for Rise with Wealth Warriors. I want to say thank you all for tuning in. And if you guys didn't get value today, you're probably sleeping. Have a great day, and we'll all catch you later. Have a wonderful one.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys.